Hey, welcome back to a Tuesday Daily Dose of Hope. We're dealing with some real stuff this week. What do you do when your life caves in? We talked about the all-important word, Troy, you gave us yesterday about being still and know that I'm God. It is ultimately His voice and His word that will calm us and calm our fears. But like I hinted that happened to me, things got so out of control that I had no ability to hear from Him, and I was just off the rails.
Yeah.
What do you do then?
When that happens, it's so important to pull our friends in, to pull our circle in, and let others help us. When you are spinning out of control, when things have caved in, when it feels like you don't know how to go forward, that's not the time to depend upon your own thought process. That's not the time to trust yourself. That is always the time to say, I need an outside perspective. I need someone else to speak into this. Because if I'm by myself in that pain and in that crisis, I can convince myself that right is left and that up is down. I can convince myself that blue is red. And those are dangerous times when I am depending upon me as all heck has broken loose. And so I've got to recognize God has given me not just His presence, but God has given me friends that I can and must at this moment reach out to.
Well, in my particular case, when God helped protect me from that moment where I was going to make a stupid decision, the next thing I did was I called out to my father.
Yeah.
I went to my house and I literally cried in the fetal position for hours. It's important we tell our friends to not be ashamed of being real in that moment, right? Let it all out.
I mean, how hard was it to walk into your parents' house and say, I can't do this. I want to take my own life. I don't know what to do.
I say it was the worst. It was hard because if there's one person I didn't want to be looking ashamed in front of, it was my dad. But at the same time, I knew I was at the end. I needed help.
Yeah.
It was just desperation.
And that's the thing, Bill. God has given us people. God has given us people in our lives. We must use them. We must allow them in. One of the most dangerous things we can do, especially at a time of crisis when everything's caved in, is try to go it alone, to be strong, to suck it up. That is the enemy telling you to be strong, suck it up, and go it alone. The enemy would say that, and the Lord would say to you, do not go it alone. Reach out to your friends. Now, this sounds like a broken record because we're always saying reach out, relationships.
Connection.
But Bill, this is the biggest weapon that God has given us. It's relationships. It's connection. It's why God said at the very, very beginning, it is not good that man is alone, and He created Eve. Because there's nothing more dangerous than a man being alone in his own thoughts, in the midst of crisis, trying to figure out what to do.
Isn't it interesting that when they describe hell, they describe it as basically solitary confinement? Yeah. And I'll tell you, when you leave yourself alone, it is hell on earth. And there's no reason for you to stay there. There are people who love you. You know them now. They're in your circle. They won't hear anything from you and shame you for it. Call on them if you're hurting. It's desperately important.
Amen. Pull that circle in. Reach out for help. Don't go it alone.
Something real important tomorrow. Come on back, okay?
See you tomorrow.
Blessings.